You've been warned, Black Comic Lords. Welcome to the inaugural show edition of Storm Watch with Murewa Ayodele. Um, Look, we've been looking forward to this, man. Storm is here. She dropped yesterday's issue number 1 for New Comic Book Day. And here's our official Storm after show. Murewa, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. It's nice to be here. I've been excited for this for a long while. It's
How's
good
it
to be
feel to
back.
shake? How's it feel to shake the world?
um it's very good because I've been scared. I've been having like sleepless nights, like worried and everything. And people really turned up. The support has been incredible. The love has been like undescribable. I really love this. Like it's really fun. It's really fun.
Look, man, the internet has been going crazy about this book. Hashtag Storm has been trending. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's
Ororo
talking about
spoilers.
how the support has been overwhelmingly good for this book. So I don't know what the sales numbers are, but I know a lot of stores sold out of this book, and there were a lot of pre-orders on it too. So that bodes well, I
Mm-hmm.
think. Have you heard anything from Marvel's end yet?
Nothing yet, but everything I've seen from especially all the way from Brazil, it's been topping the charts. Like DC All In, it beats it. At the American side, it's number 5. On League of Comic Geeks, it's like the second highest issue, number 1 with the
Right.
highest pulls. Like it's doing great numbers everywhere. So like I'm just proud. Like so, especially knowing where I'm coming from, like all I can just be appreciative of everything I'm seeing.
Look, you're one of Marvel's highest rising stars. You did this I Am Iron Man series with your boy Doton Okande. Shout out to Doton. Um, you had this fantastic series that you and he did also called Akugan, Brutalizer of Gods, which is a fantastic series. And moving on to Storm. This is a tremendous book. I want to go through a little bit of the history of the character. And for those of you who are watching, welcome to Black Comic Lords. If you're new to the channel, please help us out. Like this video, share it amongst whatever socials that you have. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you know when the show comes on or other shows that we do in the future. It costs you nothing and it helps out this channel's algorithm. So thank you very much. Shout out to Miami's Last Capitalist. Appreciate that. Why was Tony
Oh,
wearing new improvised suit instead of Mysterium? Great job on. We'll get to your questions. We're going to get to everybody's questions. We have a question
okay,
and answer section. Keep the questions coming. We're gonna
keep
get.
it
We're gonna have
coming.
a
We'll
live
get to
chat
them. I'm
question
going to answer
section.
that.
We're gonna get to all your questions. We're gonna do that towards the end of the show. So pile up all your questions. Our producer's gonna star them, and when they'll go through all your questions. All right. So let's start from the very beginning. Let's go to yes. Now, there have been, this isn't the first Storm series. There have been at least 4 that I could recall off the top of my head that I put
I
here
don't.
prior Storm series. Um, and there have been some Storm centric series. We have this giant size Storm one shot that was very controversial. Jonathan Hickman wanted to have Storm get pregnant by T'Challa
Mm-hmm.
and was overridden and said, "No, we have plans for Storm." Don't know what those plans are. Maybe it's this book. I don't know. We have Marauders. Marauders, which was really a Storm book, and
Mm,
Sword, Volume 2, also a Storm book, Storm centric book. It was kind of like Storm and her little friends, basically,
yeah,
this series.
as it folds into X-Men, right?
But these last 3 books came out in the last few years, and it's clearly evident that Marvel has been giving Storm a push, a glow up, if you will. What do you is there any thing that you can tell us on your end? Does it seem like Marvel is a little bit more invested in making Storm the A-list character that we all know that she should be?
Um, I'm not getting like any information directly, but I can feel the vibe everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, I can feel it from like Anthony Blackwood, who is in charge of marketing. I can see the moves he's making towards like marketing Storm. I can feel it from the editorial offices. That's Tom Brevoort, Annalise Bisa, Martin Byro. You know, you can see it in all the X books. You can see Storm ads. You know, in the previews, you see it's like Storm will have like a full page. Maybe other books might have to share a page. You know, you can really see that love and push for this series. And it's that's one of the things that was really scary at some point. Like I'm a very new writer in this field, and getting all this kind of push. Like, I hope you guys know what you're doing, you know, putting all this much money on me and Lucas and everything. So, but yeah, it's the push is there. The push is there, and I can see the love for Storm.
And the love
If
from
we move to
Storm is also with
Avengers.
the fans too. A couple of people in the chat has already corrected. They're already chiming in and saying, "Look, Paul, you left out X-Men Red. You left out X-Men Worlds Apart. There's only so much room on the
Mm-hmm.
page." But yes, you're right. Those two titles as well belong on this list of Storm solo series. Absolutely, particularly X-Men Red. That was a fantastic series.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Al Ewan and Jerry Duggan for the work they've been doing with Storm these last couple of years. All right, so let's move on. So, with these series, a few things I want to point out that's happened that I want to acknowledge. Various facets of what makes up this character. Um, Another series I left off this list was Ta-Nehisi Coates' run in Black Panther, which had a very significant portion involving Storm. In this particular issue, this was the first time Storm was formally acknowledged as indeed a goddess on Earth. Um, so I thought that was significant. So that's one facet of her, is the goddess portion. In this recent backup story in Scarlet Witch #2, written by Stephanie Williams, art by Chris Allen, color art by D. Kniff. Um, Storm is having a conversation with Scarlet Witch, who acknowledges the fact that Storm has mystical powers. She has mystical background. Storm is aware of that. She's familiar with her ancestor Aisha, but to actually tap into the mystical portion of her abilities, she's never really tried to do that formally. You know, she may
Mm-hmm.
instinctively do it. This is the first time Wanda pushes her to actually tap into those abilities with great effect. Also, then we have in Fall of X, um, Storm makes lightning bolt swords or lightning bolt
Mm-hmm.
weapons,
Mm-hmm.
which
Mm-hmm.
hasn't really happened. You
Epic
just see
stuff.
her strike things down with the lightning bolt. Now she's forming weapons out of lightning.
Mm-hmm.
And then before that particular scene, you see Storm actually traverse in space. She
Yeah.
created people. Someone made a comment like, "Oh, Storm can breathe in space." She can't breathe in space. She breathes air just like a human being, but she created a storm bubble around her, an actual atmosphere. She took the atmosphere of the Earth, created it around her, and traversed through space through that,
Yeah.
surfing the solar winds, as it were, cosmic winds, because Storm is not just a mistress of weather, she is a mistress of the elements. A lot of people don't get that. It's like the elements include cosmic elements as well. So these are sort of the feats of Storm that a lot of these prior series have done, which leads to this image right here. Shout out to your artist. So here it is. Marvel says, Murewa, hey, how would you like to work on a Storm series? How, let's start with that. How did it come about that you got to be on this book?
Um, I'm not completely sure myself. I'm not completely sure myself because when I was reached out to Marvel at first, like initially, when I broke into Marvel, they asked me the comic book characters that I like and I would like to write, and I listed characters like Iron Man, but the characters I also listed, especially the African characters, like I said Shuri and Storm. So I think that was noted. And there was a time on Twitter somebody asked me that what characters would I like to write, and I also mentioned Storm, and Tom Brevoort replied that tweet and said noted. That was the second time. And around the time where the From the Ashes thing was announced that Tom Brevoort would be taking over, I also sent Akogun Brutalizer of Gods issue number 1, the completed version, to him for his reading pleasure. So maybe that was an extra reminder. Maybe he already had plans. I'm not sure myself. But it came as a surprise to me. So the announcement, I'm not really sure what really inspired Tom Brevoort to say, okay, I wanted to do it. And then so I already started scripting, not knowing who was going to be on art. So I was already writing the scripts as much as generic as I could, not knowing who the artist was going to be. Sometimes you try to tailor your scripts to your artist and stuff. So, but by the time I think I got to like issue 3 or issue 4, between issue 3 and 5, that's when Tom Brevoort revealed the new design for Storm that is going to debut in Avengers, the black costume with the neck rings and everything, designed by Lucas Wernick.
Let's
So
let's
that was
talk
like,
about let's talk about your boy Lucas Wernick. The very first time I ever saw Lucas Wernick's art was in this image right here.
mm-hmm,
These two images, and this is from a few years ago. This is not
yeah,
like a
I've,
recent thing. He did this a while ago. This is the first work of Lucas Wernick I ever saw. I just saw it surfing the internet. Um, the one, I
it's a
mean,
popular
both of
piece.
them, huh?
It's a popular piece. I didn't know it was him either. It's something you've seen before, but you never knew that, okay, it's this artist that actually drew it, but you've only just had it on your stored on your laptop or something that you saved up somewhere.
I mean, I love the fact that in the image on the left, you kind of see the lightning coming out of her hair,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
Mm-hmm.
got kind of a frizzy look. You see the influence, the African influence in the intricacy of the design, um, in the print, and
What
then
will become our hair currently?
right,
Okay.
and then on the one on the right, she actually has braids, which is always lovely to see. You see the
Mm-hmm.
print on her face, you know.
What also
Um,
comes up again in this new run?
you're spilling all the tea ahead of time, man. You almost want to say this is probably an outfit that was kind of inspired by her time in Wakanda as well, as Queen of Wakanda.
Yes, yes. It's a
So
Wakanda inspired. This, I think it said so when I traced down where the image actually came from. I think it was its art station that I was using previously. It was a Wakandan inspired costume, which I also reviewed online that in this run which is going to have numerous costumes. I think about 4,
right.
and one of them is a Wakandan costume, Wakandan inspired costume.
We're going to have a Wakanda inspired costume done by Lucas Wernick, is what you're telling me?
Yes, 100%.
This book just keeps getting better and better, man. It just keeps getting better and better. All right. So here's our rundown. Here's our rundown that you let out for the first 5 issues, each of these titles. Can you give us an overview of what these mean?
Okay, so the first episode which we've seen is titled The Grand Opening, and it's basically introducing herself as a new solo hero. She's the protector of Earth, and she's going to do the grand opening of the Storm Sanctuary, this big, massive um, place where she's going to be, and where, in case of trouble, humans are going to be able to retreat. That's humans, mutants, anybody are going to be able to retreat there for safety. um Issue 2 we kind of changed the title. So instead of Sick Day, we changed the title to Death by Voodoo. So by the time Marvel made their own, this I think it changed to Death by Voodoo. So and this in this story, we'll see her struggling with her health, and that kind of brings her into the mix of night nurse who has a new hospital and Doctor Voodoo, and it's this kind of a little dark and somber story. And then it's because Voodoo is also in New Orleans, so it transitions into episode 3, which is Impending Doom, and which also goes darker and more cosmic. Kind of, it's not cosmic space cosmic, it's on Earth, but you have all these supernatural elements that are more of a cosmic nature than, let's say, horror nature. So and at some point in this story, she will have to seek refuge with the uncanny X-Men by Gail Simone that are in New Orleans. And it, it's not going to be as safe as she thinks, and it's eventually going to push her into the hands of Dr. Doom. And from there, we transition to A Flame in the Wind. And A Flame in the Wind is just a play on her powers, that Oromoro is a flame that has been burning in the wind, and is the wind going to be too strong for her? And this is going to be there's going to be a mega battle in Latveria that is going to be burned between the collision between Storm and Doctor Doom, because the third time is the charm. Doctor Doom and Storm have had dinners that have always ended violently. There was the first one in Uncanny X-Men by Claremont, another one by Al Ewing, and then the third one by
By
myself.
you.
So
Yeah.
we're going to see how everything turns on its head. And there is something that has never happened to Storm before in our entire history of publication that would happen in this episode. That's all I would say. And by issue number 5, I say this thing that, oh, eternity thrives, eternity expands, oblivion waits. The way you have Dark Side is in DC. But in this issue, we're going to see that oblivion waits no longer. This is when we're going to find out what motivates and what pushes oblivion against us, against Storm. And this is going to be our inciting incidents. This is going to be what triggers the entire big plot of this entire series. This is what changes the entire game. This is what changes everything. It's the issue 5. So that's the laydown.
Very well, man. I mean, look, I've read a lot of Storm books in my time, and I don't. This is only 5 issues.
There's only 5 issues so far. I don't want people
That's
to like
that's
have any.
that's a lot of ground you cover in just 5 issues.
And I'm still scared. Like, oh, I hope people be patient enough to give us like 5 issues to tell this epic story. That's that's is going to spew out into like 30 issue epic.
Yeah, I like Rezi's comment. This sounds very cinematic. Listen, you heard what he said. If you want this book to do well, if you want it to continue, if what you just heard has piqued your interest and has you fired up, pre-order the next upcoming issues. You've got to pre-order the books. That's what lets Marvel know, yeah, this book is good. People are digging it, and we need to let Murewa continue on this title and let this title continue. If you wait until the day the book drops, it doesn't help. You got to pre-order. Go to your LCS and say, put that on my pull list. Make sure you order all issues of Storm for me. I will come by the store and buy it. That's how you get the book to continue and to be successful. That's my little PSA for the second. All right, I'm fired up, man. I can't wait to get this. All right, so we're gonna jump into the book itself. Let's jump into
Okay.
the book itself. Let's see how we do that.
By the way, thank you to everyone. I've been seeing pictures of everyone that are buying multiple copies, multiple covers. Like, thank you so much. That really helps our numbers. We're really super grateful for that.
You got to buy one of each of the covers, man. All those covers are fire. All right, shout out to your team here. Um, let's jump into this book. So there's a couple parts in here I want to acknowledge. First, jump to the very first page. Very first page. You start with, who is Aurora Monroe? Right?
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned the sanctuary, and that this place is in Atlanta, Georgia. That's the setting that we have Storm's new residence, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Let me ask you a question. How well did Storm do in the divorce from T'Challa? Because who's paying for all this? It wasn't even a
uh,
divorce, it was an annulment. So I don't even know if there was a prenup that's involved. Um, Storms has some money, and I'm curious as to
I,
who's
uh,
paying.
I don't think the money is from the divorce. Giving a little spoiler. Yes, parts she has numerous sources of income that I think was put together for this. One of it, yes, is Wakandan money, but it's because she was like royalty gets paid too, like salaries. It's always like incredible amounts. Yeah, so she got paid that she never actually like used, that she has been keeping. When she was regent of Araco too, she was getting paid money that she didn't use either. And she spent years working and earning different funds and stuff like that together. So basically, it's vibranium and mysterium money mostly. And then so
Mysterium, I
far,
forgot
I will
about
see
the
some
Mysterium.
donation. Yeah, and donations as we move along. We see that there are donations too, but it's mostly vibranium and mysterium money.
And then Krakoa was selling their medicines, the Krakoan medicines, and they were making money that way. And
Yeah, but
she
I think
was,
yeah,
and she
I think
was
Araco was mostly mysterium. Krakoa was the meds, I think.
right. And you got to figure, if she's regent, she's got to have a bigger paycheck than the average Krakoan or Arakoan. So being leader has its perks, apparently.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's an interesting thing. You said she still has a little bit of that Wakandan money too. It's nice to know that T'Challa didn't leave her in a leash. He kept on retainer for a while. That's cool. That's cool. He's not a complete jerk, as some people try to make him out to be. Anyway, next thing I wanted to bring out is, I love the scene where you're seeing the many iterations of Storm,
mm-hmm.
acknowledging that she's been queen, she's been regent of Rocco, she's been an X-Men, she's been an Avenger. And I love this part right here. This is
Yes,
her this is her front door, and you see these images. Let me zoom in here. You see this image here of her trapped underneath. Is this something that you told Lucas to do? Is this something you described for him to do, or do this on its own?
yes, yes. It's in the script. Two of them are in the script. Lucas added two others himself, so we split it in half.
So
I
you've
I I mentioned he storm trapped under the rubble, and her as a goddess. That's the first two. He added the Morlocks and Queen of Wakanda.
I love that. These are like the sort of some of the four most pivotal defining moments of her life, because
Mm-hmm.
you have the moment in which she lost her parents. You have the moment where she was a goddess,
Mm-hmm.
acknowledged as a goddess amongst people in Kenya. You've got the moment where she defeated the Morlocks, the Callisto, to be head
Callisto.
of the Morlocks, um, which is one of the first times
Right.
you really saw her throw hands. Knew that Storm had hands too. And
Mhm.
then when she became Queen of Wakanda, these are like very pivotal moments. And I love this door. I love the fact that as she exits out this door, she's always looking at these images and reminding herself of who she is.
Yes.
That's kind of deep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let me jump back out for a second here. Give me one sec. So it happens when you try to do stuff on your own. Um, this you mentioned that Marvel told you how to look for her. Is this the look that you were talking about?
Yes, this is the design they gave to me. So this design, for example, showed up in Avengers before the Solo.
Who did this? Who made this design? Was this
Lucas
Lucas?
Warneck.
Okay,
I don't think he knew at that time that it was going to be the Storm artist either.
it's
He
a
thought it was just
fantastic
going
splash
to,
page.
yeah.
Am I the only one? Chat. Am I the only one who actually hears music when you see this page? Is it just me? Do you smell like the honey and a slight tinge of like cinnamon and lemons, and maybe it's just me. I'm projecting. I'm sorry. I
The
had a moment.
colorist also killed it. The colorist also killed it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Your art team is fantastic. All right, moving along. Grand opening. Now you mentioned the sanctuary. What is the purpose of this sanctuary?
Okay, so to just make it like fully clear, it's no spoiler revealing it. The sanctuary is genuinely supposed to be mostly empty, having endangered animals, endangered plants. And in the second arc, um Margot is going to be joining her in managing this place.
Whoa, whoa! Did you say maggot?
Yes.
We haven't seen that dude in 20 years.
Yeah, I think he showed up in Nick's NYX.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
It was just
That's
there,
awesome.
but it wasn't in the script, but the artist added him and stuff like that. It's been in the Krakoan era too, but just popping up. I think it was in Dead X-Men as well.
Yeah.
It was
All
there.
right.
It's supposed to be mostly empty, and the reason is because it's almost like a shelter, like a bomb shelter. So if there is any that's like an alien invasion, natural disaster, anything, there are immediate ways that people will get to the storm sanctuary, and they are good. There's food reserves, everything. So they can, if Thanos attacks, people people that are here are good for like the next few months while Storm addresses the threat. So that's what it is. So that's why you have skyscrapers, there's underground things, there's so
Is
but most of the time, because she's rich, but she's not constantly making new money. She just has savings. So
right.
she can't constantly be feeding people and doing all those things. So everything here, you will see her constantly like getting new things like to keep, like, oh yeah, I want to have my grains reserve, I want to increase my silo. You're going to see stuff like that. I want to, so she's going to have that. But it's for rainy days. It's for in case of trouble. And because the storm sanctuary can move, it doesn't have to be for the people of Atlanta alone. If the danger happens, for example, in Japan, the storm sanctuary can move to Japan and be a sanctuary for them
so so
while the
so
threat is.
two things, two things. The first, is it like a pocket dimension like the world where it's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside? That's how it's
No,
able to
it's
fit
not.
all these
But
things in?
no, it's actually it's 5 New York City blocks. It's actually huge, but you can't
Okay.
draw everything. It's actually very huge, but
And
it's
this
not
is
like,
Atlanta.
oh, not like it will house everyone in Japan, but just like, maybe like a small city or something. The people that she can save and house them for a long period, like 3 months, 2 weeks, while you do like big rescues, because we want to try to at least be slightly, I don't want to say realistic when you're talking about superhero stories, but you get, not all threats end in a day or two. They're good,
I, I
they're threats that last long. And you need to be able to know that you can keep people safe for a while some huge battles happen.
I like this comment by eclectic birdie blurty niche that the sanctuary is an expansion of the mansion attic garden she had back in the Claremont days. Do you view it as kind
Basically,
of like that?
yeah, you can view it like that, because you can, it's, that's everything we're trying to do in this series. It's this, not, some people think as maybe like, oh, this is too much for Storm, but no, it's everything Storm has always been, but we're pushing it further. And that's
Mm.
what storytelling is, especially in the medium like Marvel Comics. You have to push things forward. We can't always stay in the status quo or regress back. So this is someone that has always loved plants. This is someone that has always loved animals. So, and if she has the resources, she's going to take care of more. And so it's an extension of that. So we see that. And she loves people. She likes to take care of people. And she's making avenues for that as well.
All right. We don't have a big bad as such in this first issue, but we have an antagonist in the sense of a situation more so than
Yeah.
an individual. Storm has to rush off to, there's a big explosion. Storm in Oklahoma, and Storm has to rush off to try and see what she can do. Disaster relief, something that, in light of what we had recently this past week, with the hurricane, we can all identify with. Having a superhero in these situations would be ideal. Um, but what's interesting is who she grabs to help her with the disaster relief. You bring my girl Frenzy, her partner from another mother, from the Sword series. Um, they did a lot of cool things together. Um, what inspired you to use Frenzy in this book?
um, I wasn't super familiar with Frenzy. Not always. Um, but I think just going through YouTube one day, I found out that there's this badass black chick that has super strength. But compared to most of like other heroes that have super strength, she's not like all muscular and huge with her super strength. She looks like a normal chick, but she has badass strength. And I
Yeah,
just liked that idea. And I love that hairstyle. And I was like, man, I like this chick. So I've always been trying to like, okay, let me start looking for comics she showed up. I like, oh, she was in X-Men Red. Okay, nice, and stuff like that. So it was like not soon after that I got the call for Storm. So I was like, I'm going to put Frenzy there. I'm going to put Frenzy there. Yeah, like especially if you want like, oh, I'm going to put this chick there. So I had to emphasize, like, yeah, this is the hairstyle we want. If you notice, the hairstyle is a little different from what's in X Factor. Like, and we're like, so and I think Tom Bravo was like, oh yeah, she has this uniform. We're like, no, 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 no. Like, I have this look in my head already that I want her to wear. I want her to wear like these golden brogues and wear suspenders. She was supposed to wear gauntlets,
so
but
you
I
actually
guess
you actually told Lucas Wernick what you want, the look that you thought she would have, and this is what he came up with.
yes,
That's dope.
yes. So she
You
was
had
supposed to
several
also wear.
comments here, people talking about how they love the look. And let me ask you a question: is Lucas Wernick like a does he have a history or experience in like fashion design? Because every time you see Storm on the next page, there's a different look, or just the
Yeah, that's by
fashion of the characters is
no,
crazy.
that's by design. Lucas likes fashion.
Yeah, clearly.
I'm not sure. Like, I'm not even sure how. Look, I think, I hope
Right.
we can get
I like
Tom.
Butterfly Kisses is comment. This is the best look I've ever seen Frenzy since like the Hellfire
Yes,
Gala. This She looked good
yes.
here.
See, I hope we can bring Tom Brevoort on the show and like question him about why he made some of these decisions. Because when I was making this pitch, I was like, fashion is going to be like a major thing. It's going to be so. Was Lucas was that a reason why you chose Lucas, or you already planned to choose Lucas? You know, and things like that. So it was just this perfect balance, in the sense that, because I was already scripting these things, not knowing who the artist was going to be. So I was already being like, oh man, you need to like give her this type of glasses that have these golden frames. You have to give her like this collar stuff, suspenders and stuff like that. And when I saw it was Lucas, I'm like, oh my god, this guy's going to kill it. And I didn't have to bother as much because he's also very fashionable and his style and everything. So there are, like, in Storm's look, there were some suggestions. I think my own design was supposed to be like all the way to the neck, but it was like, no, 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 let's show some chest. So he made some small, small designs. For example, the gauntlets. Frenzy, Frenzy is known for her gauntlets too. Originally, she was supposed to be the one to wear the gauntlets, but I
Right.
think it was like, no, if Storm has a gauntlet, to feel weird if she also has one, so she doesn't have a gauntlet too. So we're balancing, but it did give her the golden brogues.
A lot of people talking about the fashion. Lady Kerrigan says we need a book with all of Storm's clothes from the series. Look, there's a lot of people seem to be digging the fact that Storm is in comics. Honestly, she's considered a bit of a fashion icon.
Like
Um,
every issue, you're going to be seeing out in like different looks and gorgeous looks. Like this is a must now.
you need to have an issue, maybe a throwaway issue, maybe an annual. When you get to if Tom clears you for an annual, have Storm go to like a fashion show where she's been asked to be, and just have her go through various outfits. I think that would be a big seller. Seeing her wear like a dozen different outfits in one issue, and then have like, the new
I
Brotherhood of
think
Evil Mutants attack or something.
I think by the time you read this book in trade, you're going to feel like that already. You're going to feel like you actually read a fashion book. Because look, I think this issue she has like 4 looks or so, 4 or 5 looks. Issue 2, I think she has like 4 looks. Issue 3, maybe like 4. It's And issue 4, she wears like a beautiful dinner gown to have dinner with
With
Doom.
Doom.
So
Yeah.
if you read this in trade, it will feel like a fashion book, as you just flip through different cool looks. Like even a costume, like superheroes only have one costume for a book, for a series. Even for a costume, she has 4 costumes for this series.
All right. So let's whew. Look at this look, man. This is dope. I mean, not that I'm like a fashion, fashionista, but like the detail. Look at the detail on the interior of Storm's like cape dress thing. He's got like little
yes, I
designs in here.
yes, I said I wanted African prints. Like I wanted Storm to always wear a touch of African print.
You guys are really collabing together, man. I
This was
love
the
that.
colorist doing. Hmm.
Even the texture of Frenzy's hair.
Yeah, that was Lucas.
Shout out to Lucas on doing his homework on black women's hair.
Yeah.
That's a thing, man. All right.
So
So
I wanted the head wrap, cool things, So yeah.
so there's like this power blast, right? It's got radiation. There's a power blast. And Frenzy's like, hey, incoming shockwave. Storm does something to repel the blast. This is like a radioactive blast, and she's repelling it with her powers. In your head, what power set does she have to repel these things?
Okay, so that's what Dotsu criticizes me for sometimes, because it says I don't like describe enough, because that's why people think maybe I'm not like considering a lot of things enough. Um, so far away, there's the nuclear power plant and there's radiation there. But there is also a constant shock wave emitting from that spot. The shock wave itself is just a shock wave. It does not have radiation.
Oh.
So it's just that shockwave, it's just that force. So what Storm basically is doing, but in a visually interesting way, is the fact that she vibrates the air molecules around her in such a way that it replicates the shockwave coming, so that there is when two shockwaves meet, and I've forgotten the word for it, and they cancel out each other. There's a word for it when two waves meet. There's this, the word was in the script, but that's basically what she does. She basically vibrates the air molecules around her. It's almost similar to maybe air bending, but it's not about what she uses, but it's about the precision and how smart and versatile she is to think that, okay, this is the best way to like counter this.
Bro, I'm still tripping on the fact that I hadn't thought about the fact that Storm, for all intents and purposes, is an airbender in some respects.
Exactly.
I hadn't thought about that. Damn, you done shook me, man. All right. So then we have this moment. I love the cute touches, the touches, the human touches you put in here. Simple things, and this is just one page. And I love the fact that you and Lucas work so well in your storytelling. This one page speaks volumes. You've got this very cinematic look of Frenzy holding up, this rubble with one hand, extending
Yeah.
out her hand to help with the other. A very sincere look on her face. And you see the look of fear on this guy with the Orcus symbol on his shirt, hiding his child behind him, who the child also has look on their face. So it's kind of like
Mm-hmm.
you've got this person of hate who's teaching their child, the next generation, to hate, because hate and fear, mutants.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got this look of revelation and horror in Frenzy's face, Orcus. And there's this moment where she's like, where she's thinking like, this rubble's getting really kind of heavy. I mean, I could just kind of let it go. And then, Aurora, being the voice of reason, snap out of it, Frenzy. We save everyone. It wasn't a lot of dialogue at all. I mean, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 word bubbles with not a whole lot of words in it. And you told so much with this one page. That's good storytelling. You and Lucas are working
Thank
well
you.
together.
Thank you. Thank you.
Here's another example of it. Just all these images, the montage of images.
Yeah,
Asi-
this was inspired by Greg Park's run on Storm issue number 1 by Greg Park.
yeah,
And
fantastic artwork on that issue.
yeah, and there was just this scene of Storm helping the people at the beach to clean up after a tsunami. And I just love the fact that a superhero wasn't just there, I am mighty, like, I have saved you and I'm gone. And he stays there to continue to help them after the aftermath of the big disaster. Because in every story we see, oh, there's always a big disaster, the hero helps and is gone. But I just like that story, that just little sequence, that Storm stays after the disaster to help with the cleanup.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I have to do something like this. So I want to see this part of heroism, because that's what we see around ourselves. That's what we see with firefighters and things like that, like with medics and everything. Like after the major disaster, people that are still there with you to continually still say, okay, how are you feeling? Are you all right? Where does it hurt? Where do you know? That's what I wanted for Storm.
Right, right. I love these two comments. Rezi says, here's this Superman level heroism, and it's so beautiful to see two black women doing this. I mean, you got two black women superheroes who have all this power at their disposal. But the things that people from this event are probably going to remember is the fact that Storm administered first aid to this kid's knee and wrapped and bandaged that knee. You know, you've
Mhm.
got um, Frenzy finding the puppy for this one kid, them taking people by hand and leading them to safety, helping the old
And
lady. Great moments.
technically, both of them are both former criminals.
We don't like to talk about that. Because
And
technically,
no, no,
if you
no,
really want to
it's
get
just to
deep with
show,
it,
no, it's just to show how far they've come.
they both have come. Yeah, Storm was a pickpocket,
And that was just to show them.
and Frenzy
And
was
it's
a
just,
member of the not the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. The
yes, someone said this was all done without costumes. This was a big debate
without costumes.
because,
Yeah,
yeah, this was a big debate because how do you have a debut comic and the superhero moments are not done in costume? And and Tom Brewer was like, "Are you sure? Like, are you sure? Because you're going to have, how do you have iconic imagery without those costumes?" And I'm like, I really want the costume reveal to come like in present day. This happened 7 days before. In this 7 days before, she hasn't gotten her costumes yet. And I
yeah.
also wanted the chance to like have this design and everything to almost show that they weren't sure, they didn't see this coming. Disasters like this is not like a villain where you're like, oh yeah, let's go to the chopper, let's get this. They didn't see this coming. It just came as a surprise. They're probably going somewhere else. They're probably dressed for something else, and they rushed right here. Oklahoma is not part of Storm's jurisdiction or where she's not. It's not Atlanta. Yeah, so that's just. I think it feels more pungent, the fact that it's done without costume.
Someone on Twitter. I wish I'd found the image out and loaded it up here, but someone at Twitter took did a meme of this particular picture in the center, and they put your name under Storm, and they put Storm fans under this little girl that she's holding, and it's kind of like what this issue felt like. It was like, this is Murewa's love letter to all the Storm fans. I'm taking you, my Storm fans, and I'm embracing you, and I'm letting you eat. I'm letting you, suckle from the teat of Storm. That's probably a little more descriptive than I should have gone, but the point remains: you're making fans happy, and that's dope. All right,
And I'm happy when they're happy.
keep the fans happy. All right, here's an interesting moment. I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you about this. Who's in your mind? Who's doing the narration in this book? Or is that a spoiler?
It's not a spoiler, but I don't also want to ruin the original experience for people.
Okay.
So
All right.
it's better not to say it.
Storm gets wounded, but in the wording of this narration, it says this was our universe's first attempt at taking Storm's life. It's like foreshadowing.
Yeah,
But more so, we talk about Storm's powers, right?
that's why I
I've
did
never
that scene.
seen Storm use her powers to heal herself. Or not heal herself per se, but she used her powers in a way that we haven't seen before. She cauterized her wound with her powers. Never been done. And Storm's been in a lot of scraps.
Mhm.
The
So
fact
okay,
that
so
you thought to do that, I think, is cool. It gives us foreshadowing as to where your mind goes in terms of Storm's powers haven't been fully explored yet. Please talk about
yeah,
that.
yeah, it's just trying to be creative with our powers, and this entire issue is also to explore the strengths and weaknesses of our powers. Um, for example, number one, the fact that even though she's this omega level mutant and everything, our body is still basically the same thing as a human being's body. So that means just a small shrapnel could do such damage to our body just because she couldn't find something to defend ourselves immediately. And also the fact that she was trying to be precise. When you are doing like huge sweeping moves, you can do multiple moves at the same time. But because she's trying to be as precise as possible, you don't want to make a shockwave that's greater than the other one and create a bigger shockwave. You have to make the shockwave exactly the same as the one coming so that it can cancel each other. Because she's trying to be precise, that means she can't do multiple things. So she couldn't create defense for the shrapnel. Some people say, oh, she can create force fields, but she couldn't at that point because she was trying to be precise. So it's like trying to play the piano and cutting your nails at the same time or something like that. So yeah, it was something too sophisticated for her to have defense for her body too at the same time. So all that playing around with her strengths and her weaknesses. And then as she's bleeding out, it's like, okay, what do I do? And then she uses code to kind of freeze the open wound and to slow her heart rate and stop the bleeding.
Huh.
And that's why you have the cold hair come out of her mouth.
Oh, I didn't even pick up on it. I thought she was cauterizing her wound, but she actually is in the opposite
It's
direction.
Yeah, that's some of the criticism I'm saying that Storm has gotten by some fans, saying that she doesn't use heat as much, that's the power. And I try to see, even if other writers did some things for different reasons, it's now part of a canon. So you have to treat them as this is what this character has always done in the past.
Mhm.
So if you have to evaluate it, why Storm has the power sets to use like heat and all these other destructive power sets, why does she go with lightning, wind, and cold? So there's probably a reason for that. And it's something that is always in my subconscious when I write about the character. So I so when I'm writing Storm 2, I prefer to go for cold rather than hot. So if she goes for hot, it probably means she's pissed. It probably means she's not being cautious anymore. It probably means that threat is so terrible, she doesn't care if that thing dies. So you know what it means. So, for example, if there's a villain, Storm doesn't kill, she just tries not to kill. So she'll probably use things like cold and lightning and things like that. But when if she uses fire, for example, that means she's desperate. It means something. So you can't just have her using fire anytime, because when she uses fire, it means Storm did not have any other choice. She's desperate. So those are kind of meanings I want to like hold and be consistent as I write a power set.
I agree with you, Ben. I love this dichotomy. Morea's putting some thought into this character. If you guys haven't seen it already, all right. Where's the other part I wanted to talk about?
Oh, that part. Um, in my mind, I'm not sure if it's canon in Marvel yet. I think Storm can teleport vertically.
Whoa, 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 whoa! I was okay. So this right here is actually
Yeah.
her teleporting. She's literally, God, I'm about to say this. I know it's going to sound corny.
Okay.
She's riding the lightning, is what you're saying.
Yes. Yes, and she has done it before. She did it also in the issue where she visits Doctor Doom. Um, I don't think Storm can teleport like Nightcrawler or Manifold. Not every location and not in every direction, but she can teleport vertically, up, down, by riding lightning. So that means she can rapidly come down, pam, down, or rapidly go up. So that's what happened in the fight with Nimrod. So she's in the sky, she could come down at a super speed, almost like teleportation, bam, and she can also go up almost instantaneously too. So that's what happened there. So she can go up instantly and then she now flies. So, but it's only for when she needs, but only vertically. She can't do that horizontally.
Wow.
She needs the wind. So she's slower if she's moving forward, backward. But if it's up, down, she's fast. She's as fast as any speedster, faster than any speedster. If it's just up and down.
Because she can literally go the speed of light.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I love that. I love that. Attention to detail. I'm a comic book head, so I pick up on certain things. Your colorist went to the detail. If you look at Storm's hands, you see the two tones of the coloring in her hands, which you don't often see with Black characters. You also see her earrings popped off when she started
Yeah.
going super fast. Did you see that? Is that something you
Yes,
wrote in the
yes, yes.
script?
I think it was in the script. I mentioned that the head wrap would go. I'm not sure about the earrings, but
Wow.
we knew that this was when things were supposed to get serious, and then the hair can flow nicely.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I've
Thunderclap.
seen Frenzy for many, many years.
I wanted
I
to give
have
her that power set. I
never,
don't think she ever did that before. I
I,
don't think so, but I was like, I'm going to give her that.
yo, you gave Frenzy a new offensive capability.
Yes.
Borrowing from the Hulk, the thunderclap. I love it. I
I was
love it.
like, put it in the SFX. Yes, thunderclap. It must be there.
And the
I don't
way
want
it's
any
drawn is
question of,
perfect. I love the fact that it actually says thunderclap. So it is
yes, no doubt.
unambiguous
This
what's going on
is
here.
not anything. Yes.
That's awesome. You're really killing it, man. All right. So Storm is exposed to the radiation.
Yeah, so now it's no longer the shock waves. Now
Right.
she's close to where that mutant is. So now the radiation poisoning happens because in our journey there, we see that the fishes are dead. We see that animals are dead, and that's because of the radiation, no longer the shock waves.
Right. Also pointing out, Storm is still physically very human. She's a
Yes.
goddess. She has the powers of a goddess. It's almost like she's a demigod for all intents and purposes, like Hercules.
Yeah, and some people said, "Oh, she's impervious to radiation." And it's like, yeah, but this is a radiation from another mutant that we've not known or studied. It's
Right.
not the radiation. So it's a
In
different
your
form of
mind, regular radiation she's impervious to because of her ability to manipulate energy.
I don't think she should be, but it's canon, so I have to follow that rule. But this radiation is not even normal radiation.
Yeah. All right. She saves the kid, and what follows next is kind of interesting because we have the fallout where people are like, oh, you know, she's a hero, she's not a hero, etc., etc. Storm has a decision to make, and I'm gonna skip over the next few pages so I can talk about this next portion. As it turns out, there's this kid who actually caused this major disaster, killed all these people. Who knows how much money and damage to the surrounding area. People don't, but this happened in a nuclear facility, so people, for all intents and purposes, people just think Storm just saved us
nuclear
from a
power
nuclear
plant.
disaster. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another Chernobyl type thing. Yay! Mutants are back. Superheroes are back. X-Men good. Storm good. Good graces, because the X-Men under Orcus were considered trash. And this is good PR for Storm. It's good PR for mutants in general. But she knows the truth. She knows that it's actually a mutant that caused all this. This is more bad PR for the mutant race. So she has
But
a
she's not
decision to
sure
make.
too.
She's not
She's not sure.
sure. She's
Like
not sure.
maybe the mutant was just there, but it's still the facility. I just want to be sure. Or maybe the facility triggered the mutant. I just want to be sure.
So that leads to this slide I want to show here. She has this conversation with Tony Stark to make sure.
Yeah.
And Tony's like, yep, It was definitely the mutant. It was definitely caused by the mutant. Your people caused this.
Mm-hmm.
And some people were, this is a lot of people have been talking about this particular page. On multiple machines through various quantum processing units using several algorithms, including some designed by Reed Richards, Lunella Lafayette, Forge, Riri Williams, and your former sister-in-law, Shuri. This is a lot to unpack in this one little panel.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing, I appreciate the fact that you're giving shout outs to some of the characters that we Black Comic Lords really love. Lunella Lafayette, Moon Girl, Riri Williams, Ironheart, and uh, what's interesting though, Shuri, Tony, two things.
Mm-hmm.
Amongst the smartest of the smartest people in the Marvel Universe, Tony's listed them here. Two people are missing: Blue Marvel
Mm.
and T'Challa. Tony goes to the point of mentioning Shuri, but he's got to throw a little dig in. Your former
Yes.
sister-in-law, Shuri.
Yes.
You know, and people are like, where's Mike T'Challa? T'Challa's, he's like probably at least the fifth smartest person on the planet. Why isn't T'Challa there? Well, where's Blue Marvel? Blue Marvel's a genius. He lives for this stuff. He knows everything about radiation. The guy's living radiation. Why isn't Murewa mentioning these two guys, these two black hero geniuses? And here's the thing. This is my take on it. And you can go ahead and say your take. But from my take,
Yeah.
I've been reading comics a long time. Been reading a lot of Iron Man comics. Tony Stark don't like Adam Brashear and T'Challa. If you read the comics, he's not gotten along with these guys. He's competitive with T'Challa. He was bitter for a while that T'Challa wouldn't share Wakanda's technology with him, and T'Challa's response is, "You're a drunk, philandering playboy, frat boy. You're not ready for this technology, so no, you can't have it." And Tony's always felt that kind of way about it. Adam Brashear, he doesn't like Avengers. He tells them, "I don't like you people." Tony's not friends with these two guys. So he has gotten along with Riri. Riri is his protege, so it makes sense that he talked to him. Forge is he's got ties to the X-Men and with Storm
just
personally.
to just to make Storm calm down, like, okay, I actually asked another
Yeah, I
mutant,
asked
and,
mutants. I asked mutants. I asked an
and the mutant
inhuman,
says yes.
Lunella Lafayette. So it wasn't just a human, Reed Richards. I asked an inhuman, Lunella Lafayette. I covered the entire bases. And your former sister-in-law. What was your take in doing this, Paige? I'll let you speak for yourself, honey.
Number one is this is a black female led book. So number one, if I'm going to list more of genius characters, it's going to be more of black females, which you see here, which is Riri, Shuri, and Moon Girl. And Shuri is my favorite Wakandan. I've always said that on the show, like way before anything. And the thing about Tony and T'Challa is, I don't think either of them would use an algorithm developed by the other person, because they are both sneaky bastards. You think if T'Challa should run an algorithm written by Tony Stark, that algorithm would not probably steal some information on T'Challa's device, and vice versa. You think T'Challa would not do some stuff that is shady to like Tony's algorithm? Like, it's, those two guys, it's like Batman. You get, it's like telling Batman your secret and say he won't use it against you someday in the future. That's Tony Stark. That's T'Challa. So why would they use each other's algorithms? I don't think they trust each other to that level compared to Reed. Reed, for example, Reed is more transparent. It's not
Yeah.
like Reed can be sneaky, but he's more transparent of the three of them. In fact, of all the Illuminati members, is the most transparent. Tony can trust Reed. T'Challa can trust Reed. Like all three of them can work together as a team because Reed is
Yeah.
there. But if you remove Reed, both of them no, and that's because Reed is more transparent. So it's so if this was T'Challa, T'Challa would probably list all these same people and not list Tony Stark too.
Yeah. For those of you who aren't getting that point, check out Jonathan Hickman's run on New Avengers. And Avengers. You see that dynamic between the three of those characters and understand why Tony wouldn't necessarily go out of his way to go talk to T'Challa about something. He'd rather talk to his sister. Anyway, well, that's a good explanation. So here's the thing. As you know, T'Challa's my boy. I am a big Black Panther fan, right? Um, the question has to come up. It has to come up. Are we going to talk about this? Look, let me set the stage because some of the people may not have watched this channel before or know what I mean by this. Let me take a moment. I'm an old comic book kid, and other than simply a lot of people who just Google T'Challa and Storm and say, "Oh, I read the wiki page and I see that they're toxic for each other," and make up things that they hear on Twitter or wherever. I've actually was, reading comics back when this was a thing, when they were together, when they got married. And it was literally the biggest event in comics, in Marvel Comics at the time specifically. And they were the go-to couple. They literally replaced Reed and Sue Richards on the Fantastic Four. They
I
were
like the comment
the
section.
superhero family in comics. And their potential was documented in the annuals of Black Panther that they would literally take over the world. Not figuratively, but literally. So they're a big deal for me. They were the most powerful union in comics, particularly as Black characters, which was what ultimately led to their demise. Um, Here's the thing. I hate the fact that they were pulled apart because Marvel was having beef with 20th Century Fox at the time, and um, Aurora's character is kind of all intents and purposes owned by 20th Century Fox. T'Challa owned by Marvel. They're married. It make for awkward type of storytelling, and so there's this mandate to move all the mutants into limbo, not figuratively but literally at the time. And you had AVX to set them apart, and it ultimately broke up their marriage. Politics is what broke them up. It wasn't they were toxic for each other, it was politics. Ta-Nehisi Coates, years later, brings them back together very organically and beautifully. And a subsequent run by a writer, I'm not going to say his name on air, he shall not be named, brings them apart again. On again, off again, on again, off again. She's now with some dude named Craig, the corny astronaut dude. Last we saw.
She's currently single.
What? She's gonna be
She's
single in
currently
your run.
she's
She's
currently single. Yeah.
what happened to Craig, the corny dude?
We'll find out in future issues.
We're gonna find out. But Craig's is out of the picture. She's single. She's single and ready to mingle. All right, she's by herself. Good. I didn't want to see Craig show up again. He irritated me because he's not T'Challa.
we'll,
Will
we'll find out what
T'Challa
happens in future issues.
what?
We'll find out what happens between her and Craig in future issues.
Some people saying they like Craig. Nah, forget Craig, man. Craig's a tool. He served his purpose. I'm done with Craig. I'm moving on. Anyway, so here's the question. Do you have any plans for T'Challa to show up at all in this book? Other than that one panel where he's in the distance You know, without giving away any storyline, is he going to make an appearance anytime soon in the first the first five issues that you've planned?
5 issues, no.
Okay.
um I might start considering it, but I decided to like not, because the thing about a lot of like popular characters is, before you can use them, there's, because in this story, a lot of the characters I want to use, I want to be able to like, use them in like very strong roles and mold and shape them and clash them together. And when you share those characters with other books, like it becomes like, even Storm, if I want to make some big moves, I still kind of have to ask Jed, like, hey Jed, I hope it's okay. Like, there was a particular big move I wanted to make. I had to ask Jed, and Jed's like, it's going to like clash with some Avengers plan, and I have to cancel it. And that's Storm in the main solo book. So now imagine Black Panther, that it's not even like, I'm not the Black Panther writer. I'm not writing Black Panther. So it's complicates things. And so that's why most of the characters I've been using are characters where I can be like, yeah, this character is mine now. You get like Margot, like, oh yeah, Margot is mine now. Sorry guys, like there's nothing you can do about it. I can borrow Dr. Voodoo and be like, yeah, I can use Dr. Voodoo for a while. Um, Doom. Doom is going to have an event soon across the Marvel universe, so he's going into all the other books. So yeah, that one I have. Like, even Tom Brevoort was like one that started like, yeah, I have Doom there. So those like, but T'Challa, if I'm going to like do anything, I have to like really, really coordinate with another book. And it's like, will I be able to like tell any meaningful story that would define them? So, for example, let's say, oh, I want to even bring them together, but that's not the direction Jed wants to go. Jed wants them to be friends or something, for example. It's just an example. How
Whoa,
do I
whoa, hold on,
coordinate
hold on,
that?
hold on, hold on, hold on. You said Jed wants them to be friends. You and Jed have talked about this subject.
No, 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 no. I'm saying that what if it's a what if.
Oh, it's a what if. Damn, I thought you were spilling some tea, Maria. I'm trying to
No, no, no,
pull the juice out of you, man.
no, 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 no. This one is what if. Like, so there's few things I can do in that regard.
All right. So here's the thing. I'm going to say a very unpopular thing for my fellow members of the cult of Bast. I'm actually cool with T'Challa not showing up in these first five issues because I agree this is a tremendous opportunity you have to redefine the character of Storm. Um, and ties to anything in her past, honestly, whether it be any guy, any relationship she's had in the past, even past villains. Like, I don't necessarily need to see Shadow King. Shadow King pops up all the time when it's a Storm book. Shadow King's got to be there. Let's try to do some new antagonists for her. I love bringing Doctor Doom back because he's one it's kind of like not a full blown antagonist. It's kind of an interesting angle because it hasn't really been fully explored. So I love that
Yeah.
you're bringing back. So I'm actually fine. I was more concerned that you were going to say T'Challa will absolutely positively never show up in any run that I ever do. You left the door open. It's possible, but not for these first five issues. So I'm cool with that. I do when I do these interviews, oftentimes I make a pitch. I have a pitch for you. Hear me out. Hear me out.
Okay.
Storm, as we've discussed, for all intents and purposes, is a goddess, a demigod, at least, right? For now, based on which we'll talk about later at the end of the book. She's at least a demigod. Um, and another reason why I don't like Craig the corny dude for her is because he's beneath her. He's not superhero. He's nothing.
But people
And
that like him have an argument and saying that if she's Superman, then Craig is Louis Lane, the human that
I
grounds are.
see. This is what I'm. This is the point I'm trying to make. Me personally, when New 52 happened, I like seeing Superman with Wonder Woman. I thought that made more sense than Lois Lane. That's just me, but I'm not a DC guy per se. But here's the point I'm trying to make. There was a recent Black Panther series called Blood Hunt, Black Panther Blood Hunt, done by super talented Cheryl Lynn Eaton. As an aside, Marvel, I'm waiting for y'all to hand her the reins to Black Panther. She's ready, willing, and able, certainly talented. She's proven she can do it. Give her the book. That's my PSA. In that title, T'Challa had a little something something going on with a character called Anuket, who is a goddess of the rivers. And it occurred to me, Aurora's a goddess. Shouldn't she be with another god? Shouldn't that be explored? People said, oh, put her with Thor. I'm like, Thor? Come on. Thor's like, no. It's a frat boy. How about this as a suggestion? Now, I understand that as a writer, there are limitations as to what characters you can use in your books. Particularly, there may even be limitations on you creating new characters. But how about a character that's in Marvel's roster already? He's already there, but needs to be plucked off the shelf, dusted off, and brought back into modern era. Someone who is fit for the goddess of thunder. How about the god of thunder? Just not the blonde-haired one. Shango.
Yeah.
God of thunder.
Okay.
Introduced
so first,
in Thor Annual 10.
Yep. Okay. So first, I think I saw a comment before about Jed and the permission and talking about Storm. It was something it was going to affect his Avengers stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why I discussed that. So yes, it's still in the pitching phase, but I have plans for Shango.
In this series?
In this series, yes. There are plans for Shango.
This is a Black Comic Lords exclusive.
We can pretty much end the show right now. That's Do y'all know what he just said?
Like
he's
if
bringing
you notice,
Shango into this series.
Yeah, like if you notice the narration, for this series has been on the epic side, almost describing Storm like you said, divinity. So yeah, occasionally you would see some things from mythology creeping just a little, and one of them is Shango.
Someone just mentioned
and
Cody Ziegler.
Please, if they allow me to do it, it's not going to be this design. So trust me, it's going to
you gotta get rid of the loincloth. I look, Lucas Wernick is a fashionista. I want to see my man Shango look smooth
and sexy. Yeah,
I'm talking like African Shaft type, African god Orisha Shaft. Cool. I mean, look, and Lucas I trust, but this is huge news, man. I can't imagine someone other than T'Challa. If I can't have T'Challa, I think someone who I love to see her interact with would be Shango, a literal god of thunder. It's interesting, as an aside, every single culture in the world has some type of deity involving storms or thunder or lightning. Every single culture has one. So I think it's cool that, the two of them meet. It's kind of like she's like the goddess in training, the next sort of Orisha in training. I think that's a cool concept that I'd love to see explored between Shango
Mhm.
and Aurora. You just made my day, man. That you just made my day with that. I'm super excited now. Now I'm really excited. All right. What else do we have? Like, you
There are
kind of
bigger
shook.
plans, but I can't reveal them. But
I'm sure
Shango
you
is
do.
the only I can say. Yeah.
I will say you end your issue with a bang, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, we have this panel here. Wow, that's eternity, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why don't you explain to us who eternity is?
Okay, so eternity in the Marvel universe is the physical embodiment of the universe. And for people that think they already understand the story, they already know where it's going, they're not sure yet. Because in the narration in the earlier pages, it says the universe is desperately trying to kill Storm. And the physical embodiment of the universe is also saying, I found you worthy. Worthy of what? So, you know, it's is this a blessing or a curse, or is it both? That's what we're going to find out. So, yeah, that's what we're going to find out. And like we also know, the big bad of this series is going to be Oblivion. And Oblivion to me is like the opposite of like eternity. Eternity always expanding, always creating, always new. Oblivion is always ease, the nothing before everything, and the nothing after everything. So yeah, it's going to be some real cosmic thriller thing. So i- imagine this is a story of like, oh, a murder mystery in a dinner, and Cthulhu shows up. Yeah, that's how crazy this is going to be, the grand scale. So you're talking about superhero things in the Marvel universe, in Earth, on the planet, and then these cosmic forces like eternity and oblivion start to try to stir the pots. Then you're like, oh, things are about to get more crazy.
Bro, I'm getting a sinking feeling that Storm's power set is about to get leveled up tremendously.
Oh,
Um,
definitely.
the fact
we, we've
that he first was my eternal Storm. Now we said several times here, Storm is a demigod. She is a human being with literally the powers of a god, but she is mortal, right? She ages, she can be killed physically. This dude is talking about her as my eternal Storm. It's almost like he's maybe making her his avatar or his herald, maybe. Um, Much like he did with another character, little dude that she knows named T'Challa. This is
Mhm.
from Avengers Mech this is like Mech Attack, issue number 4. Where T'Challa seemingly died and was brought back by Eternity as his herald, leveled up with cosmic powers. I mean, I'm just saying, like, Storm's not looking too good prior to this page. She's got this radiation poisoning. She got stabbed in the shoulder. She's bleeding out. She made we got the solicits for the next issue saying she's dying. She needs Dr. Voodoo to help her out, prevent her from dying. She might die. Is she gonna like die and like be reborn as a full blown goddess? If this is what you're doing, I'm not telling you to answer this question. I don't want you to ruin it. I'm excited. But if that's what you're doing, bro, again, I'm telling y'all, you need to buy this series. This is the level up that we've been waiting for on Storm, and I'm 100% here for it. Wow. Oh, so fast forwarding to the future. What can you tell us about? You gave us some pictures of what we can expect in the future.
Okay, so before we go to this page,
Yeah.
about Eternal Storm. Eternal Storm is not. We'll find out what Eternal Storm is. But what I can say for now is Eternal Storm is not an herald. Eternal Storm is not an avatar. Eternal Storm is eternity and storm fused together. The entirety of eternity inside storm. So this is another level. So it's like what I can use as an example is like the Phoenix Force and Jean Grey. Jean Grey is not an avatar or like an herald. It's they become one.
So Storm is
So
going to, in essence, be the host for eternity.
yes, they will become one, and it's necessary for the challenges ahead. So yes, so that's the level we're operating with Eternal Storm. So normally to just be what Storm Herald of Eternity, but no, it's Eternal Storm. So this is different. This is not like something we've seen before, and this is the payoff of a story in Fantastic Four by Dwayne McDuffie that set up the fact that besides Doctor Strange, the only human and especially and the only mutant that can house eternity in their mind is Storm. Nobody else, no other powerful creature, anything, only Storm can. And so, what eternity needs Storm for is not just Herald or anything. It is, I need you to contain all of me. So, this is another level.
Bro, shout out to you for taking a reference from the GOAT, Dwayne McDuffie's um, run on Fantastic Four as inspiration to take Storm in some interesting directions. I love when writers do their homework, man. That's really dope. Appreciate that. This is why y'all need to be watching this show every month. Storm Watch every month so you can get these nuggets of information from Murewa. Thank you for doing this, man. Appreciate that. All
Yeah,
right, but
thank you for having me.
You blessed us with some other stuff.
Yeah, previews for Storm 2.
All right, let's check this out.
So this is the new costume that's going to be, because I told you that she's going to have multiple costumes. So this is the second costume we're going to be seeing. The first one was the black and gold that we saw in issue 1. The second one is the white and gold, which we've already seen the announcement for the design. So this is the costume she will be debuting in Storm 2. So I got permission from Marvel to be able to show this. So kudos to them for giving us permission to show this. So this is the new look. This she's still going to be wearing the black and gold costume, but this is our second costume. So for the collectors out there, you can also buy it for the collecting. So you can see how like Alex Guamares like colored the shit out of it. Lucas Wernick drew the shit out of it. This is gorgeous stuff. So it glistens in the night sky. So
Bro,
this
is
is
this like
really
her night
lovely stuff.
fit? Two things. Is
Yes.
this her night fit? And secondly, did y'all just glow up her crown?
Yes. Yes.
Yo, no
So
one's
she
ever
wears
done
the
that
black.
before.
So we want to see if she wear the black one during the daytime and this in the night. But usually too, it's also what she wants to do. When she's doing like more of like superhero stuff of I want to save people, it's more of the black costume. But when she wants to go like hand to hand fist fight kind of thing, she goes with this costume. We call this one the brutal storm.
Yo. Lucas.
So
Wow.
you're going to see why we call it the brutal storm very soon. You can move to the next page, the next panel.
Lucas Wernick got Storm making Moon Knight look like the great value version of Moon Knight. She
You can
outdoing
see
Moon Knight. This look.
yeah, you can see how she can shed the cape. So if this is a real battle, she can shed her cape and then go fist, and then you go one on one. So if you try to say, oh, you can go like hand-to-hand combat with Storm, or you're going to use a cape against her, she'll just let go of her cape and then let's rough it out. So
in that top panel, is she above water?
Yeah, so she's gliding in the night sky, and then she dives towards the water, and then immediately her leg touches the water, it freezes so that she can run on water.
Bro, you got Jesus reference. You got Storm walking on water.
Yes. She's a god now.
Oh, you're killing it right now, man. Oh, you killed it. You
people asking if we're going to see Storm with knives. Yes, we're going to see Storm with knives. And guess what? What's bigger than a knife? A sword. We're going to see Storm with swords. So yes.
Okay. I don't. Wow. All right. So we promised y'all that we would have some special guests and stuff for you in this show as the big payoff and a thank you to all of you. I want to introduce or have you introduce your guest that you invited on, Murewa, a super fan of sort who's very talented. Can you introduce this individual?
This individual is Antoine Dodson. Is a phenomenal musician, and he's been helping us like mobilize and push the Storm series, from getting podcast shows to mobilizing, to having reading groups, to buying a lot of issues, getting comic shops aware of this book. Is being the brains behind this entire campaign of getting Storm on the top 10 lists and everything. Is doing phenomenal work. He's doing the goddess's work. So, and he's composed a beautiful song for this series, and he's going to introduce us to the song, tell us about the song, and we are going to listen to it live.
What's up, man?
How you doing? Thank you so much for having me. Good to see you guys.
Thank you for making the time to join us, man.
Happy to be here. I'm not going to take up too much time because, I know we still have some more stuff to cover. But basically, this song was kind of the beginning of Murewa and I's friendship in a way, and kind of what we've been doing with the book, because kind of like I always do, I have a knack for kind of like just like knocking down doors if I kind of see one. So I was like, well, I'm just going to reach out and see, because the worst I could get told was no. So I just reached out to him and said, I have this idea, a couple ideas. I just really want to help with this book because I believe in it. Not just because of my love for Storm, of course, which is immense, but also because I feel like we need more Black heroes. We need especially more female Black heroes, because outside of, like we were just talking about, T'Challa, there's Storm, and then, that's it. So with Storm being a success, it opens the door for so many other things and so many other avenues. But in talking about the series, I wanted to do something special to try to bring more attention from like mainstream media. And I know that what I do best is music. So I came up together with Murewa and a good friend of mine in Tennessee, Nashville. His name is Jake Newmar, really talented writer and producer. And we composed a song called Soar. That is, I guess you could call, for now, if Marvel changes it, then they do. But for now, it's the unofficial theme for the Storm series. And yeah.
That's what's up. You going to premiere it here with us?
I sure am. Yep.
All right. That's what's up. Let's see if we can get Dr. Wizard to do his thing.
Live so the winds beside. You're never on your own. You rise above, go up, way up, and you soar. And when you fall down, then you get back up and you
Oh, that was absolutely outstanding, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
How many superheroes got their own theme song?
Well, that was what we wanted. We wanted to do something different, just to try something out and see if it stuck. But we are working on getting it on the streaming platforms, so that information is going to be coming soon. And we're active on Twitter and stuff. So yeah,
We have our producer has attached a link in the chat to the file that allows you to, I guess, play that song, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So check out the chat. It's there for you guys until it can get on the streaming platforms. That was fire, dude.
Thank you. Thank you.
It
Yeah.
was phenomenal.
You really put your heart into that. I love that. The chat loves it too. People are going crazy over it.
I'm glad. Good. Because this is for us. This is, and it's something that I wanted to reflect Storm, but also everyday life. People are going through things, and sometimes you just have to power through because it gets better.
There was an image that was used in that music video that I want to bring up.
Yeah.
Bro, Murewa, whose image is this?
Okay, so this is by Dotun Akode, my best friend. So he did this commission for me in celebration of the launch of the Storm #1. And he knows that for this story, Storm is going to be going against the biggest bad in Marvel Comics, and that's Oblivion. So he did his artwork, so that people can also have access to this image. You can use it as your screensavers. You can share it on social media. So we also have a link for you to download the high resolution. So that's also going to drop in the chat.
This is a dope image. Doton is God, that brother's so talented.
It's coloring. It's just.
What does Storm have in her hand right now? Can you explain that to me?
That's a great sword staff.
Okay. Once again, the show's done. I'm still thief. Bro, you're giving Storm weapons. You're expanding upon the weapon, the idea that she can forge weapons out of this lightning.
Yes.
And this is an iconic image of her slaying the dragon, so to speak. With that. And it almost looks like she's breaking the sound barrier too. You got these waves of whatever's in front of her.
Those shock waves around her.
Shock waves. It's a dope image. How is this not a double-sided variant cover for one of these issues? Marvel. It's a variant cover right there. If y'all in the chat tell Marvel that if you think this image is dope and you buy this as a variant cover, let Marvel know in the chat. My man Doton needs to get some work from Marvel to go do a variant cover for this series, because this is fire. This is fire.
If the book keeps doing well, I'm sure they'll be able to do things like doubles, because double page covers are more expensive. So I'm sure Marvel will be able to do beautiful stuff like this if the book keeps selling more and more.
I'm just trying to tell y'all how to make money, Marvel. I mean, I thought y'all like making money. Image is there. Just
It's beautiful, yeah.
just print that thing. You're welcome for the advice. All right. We have some art. Doton has shown us the process by which he created these images. Doton was kind enough to share the video, which we're going to speed up here and show his process of doing his work. I mean, look at the image that we showed y'all, it's the whole image. When you see this aspect of it, you see the amount of detail that's actually in the image that you may not be able to see.
It's just such lovely work. It's such a lovely work, and I love the fact that he because he said his favorite cosmic entities is now Oblivion, but he said because of me, he's trusting the process. I was like, please, you just have to make it Oblivion. So, and it really brought the heat when it came to his design and his rendition of Oblivion.
The coloring that Doton does is just incredible.
It is. It is.
Such
I think I saw. I think I saw a question somebody asking about Iron Man's armor. That's his new armor, but Lucas Wernick's version of the armor. That's the armor you're going to see in Iron Man 1.
How does a great sword staff differ from a spear with a long head? It's a question for you, Murewa.
It's a great sword is basically a huge sword. The handle is bigger to be able to accommodate for the long blade. So, but the staff part is now the handle is also crazy long too. So you can say it's a spear with a long head, but the way the balance and everything is way different. There's a hilt because it's a sword, and the blades are, when it comes to a spear, the spear is mostly for piercing, but for sword they're also for slashing, and not slashing and piercing. So things like that. So it's mostly for a cutting. So the way their shape and everything is very, very different.
S. Jadix, Google how to use a claymore sword. And
Yeah,
you'll see what he's talking about.
Scottish claymore.
Yes. I have random knowledge of weapons for some reason in my head.
Oh yeah,
All right.
I watched tons of YouTube videos of how to just show them forging great swords.
Here are some images of the upcoming, what was this, issue 2? Oh, these are the variant covers.
Want to do giveaways? Antoine wants to do some giveaways.
Antoine's giving away these books?
Yeah.
Mhm.
We're gonna do
These
some
are like
giveaways.
incentive variants, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Yes,
Antoine,
expensive stuff.
you came to the house bearing gifts. Look at you.
Of
You brought
course.
you brought a pot to the house.
Yes, in my family, you never show up anywhere empty-handed. So
Did not show up empty-handed. So
I do
describe what
have
you
some
got.
gifts. So I've got what you see on the screen. This is going to be the first round of giveaways. We're going to kind of do them each month as we go along. So this is going to be the start, and I figured it would kind of be fun if we did some Storm trivia, and we'll kind of just be looking at the comments, and I guess whoever gets it first, if they want the variant, then we can send it to them. How does that sound to everybody? Does that work?
Am I included in this? Can I
Well, wait a second.
Hell no.
You're the host, so you would go before everybody. That wouldn't be fair.
Jesus, I never get anything. Why do I even host these shows? All right, go ahead.
Okay, so the first question is going to be, which story did Storm knock Silver Surfer off his board in? And it could be the name of the book. Doesn't have to be the specific issue, but that's the first question. Which story did Storm knock Silver Surfer off his board in? Anybody know?
I'm biting my tongue right now.
Nobody?
First person in the chat.
Oh, okay. Well, There we got it. So, all right. So you can pick which one do you want. So we have the 1 in 50 Joel Jones, which you see the first one. That's the bluer one.
Wait, he gets to pick which one he wants?
Yeah, we're gonna pick. We're gonna pick. We're gonna do. We got the 1 in 25, and then we've got the Storm poster by Lucas Wernick at the end. So I think we follow each other on Twitter. So send me a message, Trey, and we'll go from there. Let me know which one you want, and we'll go from there.
All right. All right. All right. What's your next piece of trivia?
All right. Next one is going to be, which story did Storm first suck the air out of someone's lungs?
Let's see what they say. do, 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 do.
I don't want to make them too hard, but I wanted them to be a little challenging. No, Oh, there we go. Yep. Worlds apart. Okay.
Butterfly Kiss.
Yep. Send me a message and let me know which one you want.
I'm glad Butterfly Kiss, guys. They are very active on Twitter. On a big Storm fan. Fan. So couldn't have gone to a better person.
All right. So we'll go on from there. We got one more, and that is going to be, which story? Now this is an easier one, granted, but I'll try to make it fair. Which story did Storm first lose her powers in?
Oh, come on, y'all got to get this one.
Oh, there we go. All right. Okay, so I don't know if we follow each other on Twitter, but my handle on the screen, that's my Twitter name. So feel free to reach out, send me a message if you want one of them, and we'll get you set up. Okay? And before we end this, I did want to do something a little special because we've got a lot of stuff that's going on in the world with the hurricanes and things like that. A lot of people are affected. There is a fan that's been really active on Twitter, very supportive of the series, that is directly affected. It's been without power, I think they said, for like 7 or 8 days now.
Oh, wow.
So they haven't been able to get to their comic shop or anything. They've been a hard time, trying to get the issue. So they were really interested in some variants. So I spoke to them, but I just wanted to say it publicly that we are going to send them a copy of each of the variants so that they can, participate and, just a little something that we can do for each other, because our community, I like to think of it as a family. So I want to show up for my people however I can. And this was something that, we had discussed. And so I just wanted to do that. And then there's another fan, the first person I was just talking about, his name was Mikey. Then there's another fan that goes by Vaughn, and he had a lot of issues getting his comic books from his store. For whatever reason, they were just giving him a really hard time. He was trying to pre-order. They were saying, oh, it's not in our system, this and that. And I'm not going to say there was an agenda there. I'm not going to say that. But, for whatever reason, that's what they were doing. And they were not willing to order him the incentive variant that he wanted. So we're going to send him the incentive variant so that he has that.
That's what's up.
All right.
That's what's up. Good job, man. That's what's up. All right. Mr. Producer, what are we doing next? We have chat talk.
Q&A.
All right. So look, I told y'all at the beginning of the show to put your questions in the chat. Our producer has been starring them and keeping track of them, assumably so. No pressure, dude. I hope you've been doing the job behind the scenes. And he's going to throw your questions up on the screen for Murewa to answer. So.
Okay, yeah, I already answered this. Tony has a new armor that he's going to be wearing in Iron Man 1. That's the armor that he wears in Storm 1.
What process goes into how Aurora will use her powers outside of the usual expected uses? I'm still not over her using air molecules to stop shockwaves.
There's no process per se. It's just a challenge presents itself in the story, and I look for an interesting way that Ororo uses established powers. I try not to completely create new stuff, so that it doesn't feel like ex machina, like, oh, it's something she has used in the past. And if nothing new comes, and then I try to find creative ways, because there's a particular issue where, to get out of a problem, she doesn't use her powers, she uses knives, and we all know how with her knives. So things like that.
If
So,
you
and
want
it's
your question to be answered next, I need you to hit the like button, share the video, and subscribe to the Black Comic Lords channel. They may not really affect it, but yeah, do it anyway. Congratulations,
um
Murewa. So proud of you and Lucas. I remember you said something about the possibility of Aurora crossing paths with Shango. How do you think she'd interact with Oya? Ooh, it's a good question.
hmm.
That's a good question. Considering she just walked on freaking water.
Okay. There's no way to answer this question without it being a
Spoilers.
spoiler or anything. But let's just be rest assured that just the way we have Asgard, we're going to have Orun, and in the realm of Orun, we're going to have Shango, Oya, Eshu, and all the likes.
I think that's a huge spoiler. Mr. I don't want to give a spoiler. That's a huge spoiler.
No,
But
it's
it's a
not a
good one.
spoiler. Orun exists in Marvel Universe, but I'll bring it forward properly.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Question. We know Aurora is getting a major upgrade whenever she becomes Eternal Storm. My question is this is this going to be a permanent thing or just a temporary boost? Nothing's ever permanent in Marvel.
Um,
He's
yes,
thinking
we
about
don't
it.
know what's yeah, we don't know what the next writer would do, but I also don't know the context of this question. It could also be something like for example, now Jean Grey is the Phoenix and always the Phoenix, and you have Eddie Brock, for example, in Donny Cates Venom, where is Eddie Brock, and then the symbiote takes over and it becomes Venom. So that might be something like that. Like, is she always Eternal Storm, or she can power off and power on?
Mm.
Yeah. So she's not always Eternal Storm. She can power on and power off
She can tap into it when needed.
when
I
it's
think that's a
needed.
good answer. Good answer.
So part of the story is learning how to control it. Will it control her and stuff like that? So it's the Eternal Storm saga. We've had the Phoenix saga. We're going to have the Eternal Storm saga.
All right. Electric Blurty Niche says, will Aurora visit Africa again like she did in the Pox series?
Very, very, very likely.
Especially given Shango's going to be popping up.
Yeah.
So that sounds likely. Next question. Quid pro quo? That's another question. Why was the kid there?
Probably bring your kid to work day. I saw some people say that, oh, why is the kid there? It's an office. It's not. There are like civilians there, everything there. Not all power plants are. There's the power plant area where it's the dangerous area. There are places where it's the office area and stuff like that. So it's normal for a normal human or a kid or anything to be there. It's nothing to. It's just because you don't have full context, because everybody that was there is dead, but probably the kid's parents too. But we're going to know more about that kid's story in a future story arc.
All right. Next question, Doc. Electric Birdie Niche. Is her thunderclap concussive only, as both concussive and sonic based? Guess in reference to Frenzy.
To Frenzy. I don't even know what that means. It's All I know is it's a way of also creating a counter shock wave. It's creating shock waves.
Yeah. Electric Birdie asks, does she need a lightning storm as a vector for her teleportation, or can she also teleport during a sunny day?
Oh yes, she can. If she needs lightning, so it can be a sunny day, but she can always concoct lightning no
Yeah,
matter the weather. So, but the limitation is just it's vertically,
vertical.
not horizontally.
Yeah. Will any of the Electric's got a lot of questions. Will any of the young female mutants of color that Aurora mothered mentored show up? Oh, that's a good question. That's a good question. Like
Um,
that one that got introduced in the end of that Black Panther issue.
yeah, most probably, and also probably new ones or even old ones and stuff like that.
Okay, cool. Moody Reese says, question, this new weapon called the Great Sword Staff, is this a weapon that only Storm can wield and nobody else? Like if it was taken from her, can she instantly get it back? That's a good question. We know
Oh,
that
it
someone
can't be
else
taken.
can make the weapon because Sync emulated her powers and also made a sword, lightning sword. But can it be taken from her by someone else?
Mm. I would review this because I'm not sure I would get to write it or not or anything. But if Storm is in her Eternal Storm form and Sync tries to sync up, he will probably just die.
If
Because
Sync, go ahead.
Sync can sync with Storm, but not sync with Eternal Storm.
Oh,
Because Eternal Storm is eternity. So if it tries to sync up with Eternal Storm, he's trying to bring all of eternity into himself. And only one person can do that. That's Storm. So Sync can't sync up with Eternal Storm, even though he can sync up with Storm. So it will probably just damage him or kill him or something mean. So the weapon, nobody can take it from her. It's not really a weapon. She conjures it. So if she gives it to you, it will probably just dissipate, but it will
that makes
probably hurt
sense.
you if
Yeah.
you yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because she's using her power to
Exactly.
manifest it. That makes sense. Shout out to Stephen Turner with the super chat. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We need the money. We're broke. We'll see. I can't afford these variants. We'll see any further exploration of Storm's family and their history. That's a good question. Storm. There's two
Storm's
families
father.
to explore
Yeah.
because you have her mother's side, which has the mystical sorcery side of things, going all the way back to Aisha, and even the one of the original sorcerers supreme was also
Yeah.
a member of Storm's family. In fact, reportedly the most powerful sorcerer supreme in the past was one of Storm's ancestors. Then on our father's side, you have an African American family, which I think last we saw was it Worlds Apart, maybe? I think somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Certainly after the wedding.
Yeah. Storm's mother's side gets a mention in issue 2. Storm's father shows up in issue 4.
Oh, cool. Cool. I like that. Question: what inspirations did you have for going into this book, and what was the main goal you wanted to accomplish with your series? That's a good question.
Main inspiration, Jujutsu Kaisen. And if you can understand the whole Eternal Storm thing, you would understand the whole Sukuna thing, you know. So it becomes pretty straightforward. So that's why you know that eternity might not necessarily be the good guy we think he is in this particular scenario. And I also like Gojo, and Gojo has white hair too, just like Storm. So stuff like that.
Oh, I like this question.
Um,
Who are your casting choices for Storm in film? One I like is Yetide Badaki.
okay, so I think there was a second question in the previous one I forgot to answer. My goals for this series is I hope this series is not only just successful, but creates a long lasting story impact in Storm to a level that she continues to have an ongoing series after this.
Yes.
Like
Absolutely.
after Donny Cates Venom, like it's
Hmm.
now becomes like, oh yeah, it's we don't see a Venom ongoing as a big deal anymore. We see it as it's expected,
Yeah, like
but it
Wolverine,
wasn't like
you know,
it's yes.
he's
So
just
it's
there.
yeah, and it didn't start that way. It was a side character in Hulk that got roped in during Giant Size X-Men and so
Hmm.
on. It didn't start at that, but now it just feels like, oh, it's normal for you to have a Wolverine ongoing. So my goal and my hope is that if there's another era after this and another era after, it just feels like, oh, you have a Wolverine solo, you have a Storm solo. Like it's just normal.
Can,
That's
can,
my
can I
goal.
can I do another PSA on that point? Because I mean that's what you're talking about is really kind of something Black Comic Lord stands for. Um, we don't have a lot of ongoing black superhero titles in mainstream comics. Um, you know, Miles Morales is Marvel's technically Marvel's arguably most popular black superhero. He certainly has more comics than any other black superhero, including Black Panther. Um, but we've never had a black
Uninterrupted. Yeah.
super heroine who has continually had series. Storm's had a lot of limited series. She's never had continuously series after series after series. The way comics are done now, particularly at Marvel, there's volumes. Now things are packaged for trade paperbacks, what have you, which is fine. But characters get multiple volumes. Spider-Man gets multiple volumes. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, they have multiple volumes that keep going. You can walk into a store and know that on the shelf there's going to be a new Batman comic. There's
Yes.
going to be a new Captain America comic book, a Spider-Man comic book. On the shelf, there's going to be a new one of those every month. Storm, there is no black superheroine in mainstream comics that can say that.
Yeah.
None. Storm is the biggest opportunity that we have to make that happen. In essence, make her um a class A, character.
Hmm.
Um
Staple.
a staple, exactly. Exactly. The one that little kids can expect that when they go into a LCS, a local comic shop,
Yes.
There will always be a
Storm will
storm
be on the
there.
shelf. And this
Yes.
is an opportunity. Marvel's investing. I don't know if you guys pay attention to this. They're investing in
Mhm.
this character now. They're trying to promote it. The promotion on this book has been unprecedented for a black superheroine.
Mhm.
So this is a prime opportunity, and each one of us has an opportunity to help it move along with what? Pre-ordering the book.
Yeah.
Pre-order the book
Yep.
is your vote to Marvel to say, Marvel, we believe in this book. We want you to keep um, investing in this character. We want you to let this character continue on. We want Murewa to continue writing this character.
Hmm.
Um, that's how you do it. If you just show up on Wednesday and say, "Buy, give me a stack of Storm comics," you're fulfilling your own needs, but you're not helping this goal of making Storm continue to come out. So you got to pre-order the books, please. I'll just keep saying that over and over again until it happens. All right.
Message.
Exactly. My producer is putting me on task. Your choices for Storm in film. He likes Aditi
Um,
Badaki. I like Jodie Turner Smith. That's my choice. Who's yours?
uh, um, I'm always like the animated person. I'm the animated film guy, so that you can always get the perfect rendition of her. But
Me
more and
too.
more, I've been seeing some models, and there's this soccer player too, but I've forgotten their names. I keep saying, I'm like, oh my god, this person looks exactly like Storm, but I don't know if they have any acting skills whatsoever. So I always give the answer, the jokey answer. I always give. that I don't think Marvel likes very much is to say Robert Downey Jr.
He's
Is
pulling
to
on
just give him all the roles.
Oh my lord! All right, next question. Our producer's gone. Any other Orishas appearing? I think he answered this one.
Shango, other gods, but not Orishas.
Okay.
That's all I can say.
Will Lucas Electric Blurdy? Will Lucas be using the Gods redesign of Oblivion?
Yes and no. We're going to be using both the classic design of Oblivion and the Gods design. We're going to be using both. It's same thing for Eternity. You saw the classic design for Eternity. You're going to see the Gods design. You're going to see the classic one. We're going to. It's going to flow naturally. People shouldn't worry about that. We want to play around with the fact that cosmic entities don't have a fixed shape. So
Yeah.
you might actually, so for example, let's say there's a fight scene between Eternity and Oblivion, and you see Oblivion fighting with like in his humanoid form, his classic design with a scythe, and suddenly changes into a serpent and weaves around, Eternity. So you're going to see stuff like that. So you're going to see the old and the new designs come together in this book because I really love both takes. And I wouldn't want to move into one and not get to use some of these really cool designs.
92 Ghosts. Question: do you by any chance know when they will update Marvel's database file stats wise? We all know that those stats don't really cover Storm's true power, especially with recent issues. Does
It will
Marvel
be
really even run that? Isn't it more of a wiki thing? Fandom?
Yeah, and it's more likely that we get updated and be more true when there's a solo title, because sometimes many of these are fan made, and jumping from different story to different story and trying to find every fit, it's kind of difficult. Like if you want to keep track of every Iron Man armor that he has used in other people's books, you're going to get really really tired really quickly. So, but when it's a solo, it's easier to just keep track. Like, oh yeah, just start from issue one and just move and just keep
Mhm.
track of everything.
Khatib Omari asks, why Atlanta, my hometown? Why did Marvel
Marvel
say
says,
you have to have this take place in Atlanta?
Marvel says that's a
Marvel
new book.
says.
It's like
Khatib, I
Simon
think it
says.
might have something to do with the fact that that's where Marvel's unofficial studios are located. Many of them MCU films are filmed in Atlanta. Maybe they're just trying to show Atlanta love for Atlanta showing them love and doing all the Marvel films there. I don't know. I'm just making that up.
Yeah,
All
very
right,
possible.
question. Are we getting any first appearances in this one? And is Storm going to cross over with Exceptional X-Men or Uncanny X-Men? Well, he's already answered part of that question. Go ahead.
First appearances, issue one. Issue one's first appearance is Eternal Storm. So for everyone supporting, you have the first appearance of Eternal Storm. Issue two, you have the new costume. You have the new hospital by Night Nurse. Um, issue three, are there any first appearances? Not really. I'm not. I can't remember any one, but one and two are the ones where you get the major first appearances. And crossover with Uncanny X-Men. I won't call it a crossover, but issue three, she goes to visit the Uncanny X-Men team. So we see Rogue, we see Gambit, we see Nightcrawler, we see Wolverine.
So like
They are
guest
in the book.
stars.
So they're like, yeah, they're like almost like co-stars more than guest stars.
Okay.
So we see that. And there is a crossover in the future, but I'm not allowed to say.
Oh, that's the one I want to know about. All right. Rezi says, let's please talk about her decision to share the truth. That's actually a really good question. In this story, in this first issue, Storm is at a crossroads where the mutants are beaten down. She has an opportunity to give them some good PR. And what's interesting in the way that you did it, Murewa, is you showed the different facets of Storm on this issue. You showed her mutant family, in anticipation of this moment. You showed the Avengers, and you show the general public. And it seemed like Storm has this moment where she's like, who do I want to be? I mean, that's how you start the whole issue, right? Those words. Who am I? Who's Aurora? And she's defining herself. She's standing on her square as to who she's going to be and taking this moral stand. What was going through your mind as to what her reasoning on that?
Okay, so first, I think Antoine, you had a book club where you guys discussed this. What was like the overall feedback from there?
About her, why she shared the truth?
Yeah, like was it a
Well,
good idea? Does it make sense?
yeah,
Is
it
because
absolutely made sense because that's who Storm is a virtue, someone who believes in the truth. And for Storm, she's going to look at all sides of the problem, all sides of the situation, rather. And she could have gone along and said, okay, well, I could let us take this small little win and just kind of let everything go under the rug. But what happens to the families of the people who are being, ostracized and persecuted because people think that their families were monsters and using this alien technology? That's not who Storm is. And also, Storm is not going to let, aliens, so to speak, which I believe she called them intergalactic immigrants instead of aliens. Is that what it was?
I think
Yeah.
extraterrestrial immigrants or something. Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, which is actually very wise because she was based on Morocco and she was living that experience. So she's she's dining with these people. She's friends with people that are not necessarily native to Earth. So she wouldn't take the stance to just say, okay, well, I'm just going to lie about this and go along with it. Let other people be persecuted while I know the truth. That's not Storm. And at the end of the day, she's always going to stand for truth and what's right, even to her detriment sometimes.
Yeah, I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, that was a dumb move, or that was a premature move. That she could have said the truth, but wait a while. No need to make it that fast." And I understand the sentiments, and I would agree with it if not for the extra condition that was on it, the fact that other people were suffering from that lie.
Mm-hmm.
That was what made it imperative for that correction to be made.
Mm-hmm.
Other people who were innocent were suffering from what a mutant did, and she needed to clarify that. I think when I was listening on the book club at some point, I think someone gave an example that if it were our families that died in that
I think that was me. If it was your mother,
yeah,
right?
yeah, in that
Yeah.
in that nuclear power plant, if it was our families that died in nuclear power plant, and she died there, and they still claimed she was the guilty party, and nobody came to her funeral because everybody thinks she's a monster, and there was no closure, there's nothing, hearing that truth, it would just do so much good. Like, she didn't die for nothing. It wasn't her fault. She's not an evil person, So if you look at it from the perspective of those families, they really needed that truth to come out as fast as possible. And that's why she needed to take on that heat. And for the mutants, it's not just that, oh yeah, the mutants have always been hated. Yeah, they can continue being hated. It's number one, she will say the truth. And number two is the repercussion that will come from the mutant side of the things. I can handle it. I can protect my people. So there's that. So yeah, I think that's where our headspace is in. And we'll see her face some of those repercussions in the next episode in
And I mean,
Storm 2.
Tony was also there too, so it's not like nobody else knew.
Exactly.
That
And
might
do
be
you
a
really
little
want
awkward
Tony
for
to
being an Avenger.
you don't want Tony to
But
have that over your head either.
yeah,
Mm-mm.
yes. Personally, I don't think Tony would say it. I don't think Tony would say it. But just like if it's because T'Challa has a relationship with Storm, if it was somebody else, like you don't want Tony to know you both have a secret. Yet he's going to use it at some point. You get so Tony will probably keep it secret if for Pete's sake, or find a way to compensate that family or something. Try to find one middle ground or something. He is more comfortable in the gray area, while Storm is less so in this particular scenario.
All right. Hey, shout out to Stephen Turner with another super chat. Thank you, sir. Says, I like to think Storm also seen how Charles Xavier's lies long term don't work out and help even if they have short term benefits. That's a good point.
Yeah.
She's seen, we learned a lot of things about Xavier over the last decade or so, and we know that Charles Xavier isn't the hero good guy that we've all been raised to believe. We know
Even if he has good intentions.
yeah, he lies a lot, like a lot. I mean, he had a whole set of X-Men that he didn't tell the original X-Men about that all died. He lied to Storm and said she's flying around worshipped as a goddess. You're not really a goddess. You're just a mutant. Don't the goddess thing. It's you're just being stupid. Lied to her about that. Had a crush on Jean Grey, which is kind of creepy.
Oh man.
I mean, it's just the bones in Charles Xavier's closet are a lot. So that's a good point. She learned. Bald-headed demon. Try harder. Also, question: during issue 1, you say this is the first attempt of the universe to take her life. Are these trials of eternity? Very good question. Very good question.
Yeah. Like the narration said, you're going to see multiple attempts by the universe to take her life. And in this series, I kid you not, this is not me saying grand things. We are going to see the one that finally succeeds. The universe is going to succeed at that thing.
The universe is going to kill Storm? You can't kill Storm. You can't kill Storm. You're not allowed to kill Storm. Storm's my superhero. You can't do that. You're going to kill Storm, aren't you? You're going to kill her. All right.
As his representative, I'm here to say that he didn't actually say that.
He's got legal counsel. All right.
The universe said that.
The universe said it. He didn't say that.
Mm-hmm.
Like the phoenix, she shall rise from the ashes as a newborn. All right. All right. Next question, Mr. Producer. Dr. Wizard, where are you? Is he on his bathroom break again? There he is. Eclectic Birdie Niche. Will you be expanding Maggot's ability or focusing on some specific aspect of his powers in a unique way like his psychometry? That's a good question.
Simple answer, yes.
We'll stick with that. Will Storm visit Arakko by Mike the Bradley?
Yeah, I've been talking with some writers that know what's up with Arakko. If the series runs long enough, there's a high possibility. I finally know what's happening in Arakko and the status quo there.
Look, notice what he said. If the series runs long enough, how do you make it run long enough? What am I about to say?
Pre-order.
Pre-order the book. Now my producer's back on it. All right, cool. All right, next question. Brian's unsolicited advice. We know that Storm's magic comes from her maternal lineage. However, we've never been told about any other mutants from that line. Is it possible that her mutant gene comes from her paternal line? That's a good question, because I think it's documented that the X gene actually comes from the father? Or is it the father or the mother?
Yeah, but okay, like in a discussion that we're having on the group with we all have different interpretations of what the mutant is, but I think the more solid one that Geoffrey Thorne was having on the discussion is the X gene is basically almost like a recessive gene.
Yeah.
So, and if it's a recessive gene, for it to show up in a mutant, it has to be from both sides of the family.
Okay. All right. Next question. Dr. Wizard. He's getting a beer. All right. Stephen Turner. Will we see any knives? I
Yes,
love that
100%.
issue of what was it? Was it X-Men Red or was it Marauders? I think it was Marauders, where you see just how many blades Storm keeps on her
Yes.
person. It's
Yes.
like a lot.
A lot.
Um,
Yes.
So, is that going to be part of her repertoire in your run?
Yes, it comes up.
I need to see some people get stabbed, like multiple people, multiple times, all at the same time, with Storm directing the blades with her wind powers at hurricane speed.
I don't think this Storm book is red band, but we'll do our best.
And let's talk to Tom about that. A red band issue. Like, why not? Let's do that. Just for fun. All right, next question. Try harder. Any interactions with Jean and maybe them bonding over cosmic stress?
There are plans, but it's still in the very, very, very early stages. And so it might happen and not happen.
So they'll be sitting on the blue area of the moon, talking about, well, as they're having mimosas, talking about, girl, this cosmic power, something like that, right?
Yeah, much cooler than the moon.
Yeah, much cooler than the moon. So you're thinking about it. You really are thinking about it. All right. Fritz says, Murewa, how do you feel about Aurora's relationship with vampires?
No thoughts.
Yeah, Bloodstorm, I think we can agree will not be showing up in the series, right? He's laughing. No, that's not going to happen.
No.
That's all right. That's okay. We're good with that. Mike the Bradley, I love Frenzy being there. Can Storm build her own personal team of mutants like Sunspot, Sunfire, Gentle, and Oraco's John Ironfire, just to name a few?
The reason why she's not like surrounded by a cast of characters right now is because
You define her.
we've been having these arguments over and over again. Storm Cancel is solo. She's a team book character, and all these things. And so we need to establish fast that she can run solo. She can tell interesting stories solo. So that's why in this first arc she's mostly alone.
Mhm.
So as the story moves on, yes, we're going to see supporting characters, not just guest appearances, and that's where Margot plays in. And hopefully there are some more characters maybe able to bring on board.
That's a good answer. I rock with that. I agree with that. We just check out her old. It's like Jay-Z said, people want to see my old album. Go buy my old album.
Right.
Go check out Marauders. Go check out X-Men Red. It's been there, done that. All right, next question. Northern Pinheiro says, Ayodele, what is your long-term plan for Storm besides the development in power? Can we expect a romance or something like that? Dun, 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 dun.
Sometimes when we say these things, it's just to power is the easiest thing to say without giving away spoilers. The way so many people thought that, this story was just going to be, issue 1 was just going to be about power first, and we see a lot of story elements happening. So yeah, it's easier to just talk about power things, but there are plans that you want to explore. Like I said in like this issue 1, the fact that Storm is technically a former criminal, there's still that redemption kind of thing still there. Does she's someone that was orphaned as a kid. Where is that trauma there? The fact that she's of this age and unmarried and she has divorced before, there's that there. And if you notice how Storm treats criminals, it might not be as harshly as other people, maybe because she's been there before? You know, what are the stories you can tell there? And does it create a weakness? Does that mean she will become too trusting of a criminal? You know, so many things that are story elements there. The mythical side of her, you know, how does she exploit like the godlike thing? So there are so many story elements, so many emotional moments, including romance, which there's a romantic exploration in Storm 3, just a little tip of the iceberg. So there's going to be all that, but you don't want to say too much so that it's not a spoiler, because those are story elements that if you say anything, you've ruined it. Powers is the only thing you can just say and be like, yeah, she gets a cool knife, and when you see it, you're like, cool, and it doesn't ruin anything.
All right. Next question. Any thoughts on Evil Storm, Perfect Storm from Lady Kerrigan? Ooh, that's an interesting question.
I have no thoughts.
I mean, I will say this. What's interesting is that the weather is not good or evil, it just is. I mean, you can have good weather that provides gentle rain, which helps to irrigate the crops, or you can have a hurricane which completely obliterates an entire town and woods and what have you. But, or you can have a forest fire type thing, you know, caused by lightning or something, and it burns down an entire forest. But from that tragedy, the
New,
ground gets
for example,
renewed and new crops are
there are
growing. So,
there are some trees that they propagate better because of forest fires.
right, right. So that's
And
an interesting story element in defining Storm. She's not good or evil, she just is the
yeah,
perfect
and
storm.
I think that was also some of some people say, well, why doesn't she like change the weather every time and stuff like that? And I think she said when she was learning to use her powers, that was one of the issues she had, where there was droughts in in her village in Kenya. She was always giving them rain, and then she found out that giving them rain was actually depriving other people of water, and she was basically killing some other people. And then since then she just tries to like accept it's extremely necessary. I'm going to keep things the way they are.
It also kind of ties into the mystical element too, because they always talk about in the genre of, you know, when you use magic, there's a repercussion for it. The more you use magic, the more you have to draw that energy from somewhere else. So that's kind of interesting. All right, let's take just a few more questions, so we're not taking up all of Maria's time. Eclectic blurty niche. Will you touch on the implied bisexuality and the implied attraction to Yukio? Implied attraction to Yukio? I think it was pretty blatant.
um I'm not sure if the story runs long enough. It's possible, but so far there's only been one slightly romantic story in Storm 3. There hasn't been much yet, because it's supposed to be an ongoing series, but there's this, I'm not saying this to criticize anybody, but there's this trap I think a lot of ongoing series fall into, where especially you sit in the beginning where everything seems very tight, and then as the series gets successful it gets very very loose, and then it's like, what are we even doing anymore? It feels like there isn't any direction or anything. So even if the story might run for 50 issues or anything, I'm not saying this is to discourage fan support, but I'm trying to like have a limited number of 30 issues in my mind. So I'm trying as much as possible to keep everything super tight.
Yeah.
So, and if I'm going to keep everything super tight, some things might fall by the wayside, some things might have to stay, but it makes sure that everything is always super on point.
Yeah. Being
And
very
just
intentional.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, just like the way you see all these first 5 issues and you're like, whoa, 5 issues, all this in 5 issues. Yeah, I want that to, I want you to be able to read like the omnibus of the 30 issues and be like, whoa, that was a wild ride, without feeling like, oh yeah, there was this saggy middle. You know, you always have the stories of, oh, this run was good, but you know, skip skip volume 3, 7, and 9 because those were snooze. So I'm trying as much as possible to avoid that as much as I can. So I'm trying to see how much as possible as I can keep it tight because I did a study and I saw that the the stories I enjoyed the most that were long form stories were stories that seemed to be going towards a direction that they had an end. Stories like Why the Last Man. I don't think Why the Last Man had any saggy story arc because there was that story of he wants to meet his girlfriend all the way at the other side of the world, and we're just building towards that till we got to the very end. So yeah.
All right, let's just do 2 or 3 more questions here. Lady Kerrigan, if there is a what if storm, what do you think the story they should cover? There's been a few what if storms. What if Storm had the power of the Phoenix? What if Storm had not left Asgard?
Mhm. There was one if she hadn't
It's-
left the X-Men.
Yeah. The one I've been thinking in my mind is very small. It's just what if Storm had no air? It's nothing big.
Had no air?
Yeah, no, bald Storm.
Oh, no hair. Oh, bald Storm. Okay. He's trolling us. All right. Next question. Since we're talking about Shango and Storm, will there be a bloodline connection? That'd be kind of awkward if they're going to have possible romance if they're related. But
Oh, I don't think so. But yeah, let's see how the story unfolds.
I mean, he's not George R.R. Martin. He's Murewa Ayodele. All right. One last question. What do we got? I think my producer's looking for the last question. Who is worthy? Who's deemed worthy by Dr. Wizard of the last question?
Okay, so the letters page at the back of Storm, let's also try as much as possible to write to Marvel so that they know that we're excited about the book. That also helps them know that the book is loved because sometimes Marvel is always skeptical to like read reception from online interactions because there are bots everywhere. That's one. And sometimes they see that some of these interactions don't lead to books. Sometimes they assume that some of these interactions might just be people that pirated the books. Doesn't mean you read the book, So, but so if you have the time or anything, or you have any cool questions or any cool thing to say, you can also write to Marvel in the letters page. And if your question gets selected or your comment gets selected, you have your name in a Marvel book forever.
That is true. That is very true. All right. Well, Storm 2 drops November 20th, is what it says here. So that means our next episode of Storm Watch will be November 21st. Next day.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, so this
Thank
this
you.
series always happen a day after the issue. So just note that, everybody.
Yes, just as next day after you buy the issue or pick up your issue, next day will be right here, waiting for all of you. Let's all give a big shout out and thank you to Murewa for your time. Appreciate you, Murewa. Thank you, Antoine.
Thank you for having me.
For the gift that you gave us on the music. Everyone can check out the music in the chat. It's posted there. Shout out to Antoine also for the great giveaways and trivia he did. Appreciate that.
Thank you. We'll have some more good stuff next month.
Oh, great. Excellent. As my producer just said, please like this video, share it over your social media, and subscribe to our channel. We do this all the time. And if you like the content, we'd be happy to share it with you for free. Just subscribe to the channel. All right, so until next time, Black Comic Lords, we got you.